welcome to Recipes Recommended. Today, our recommendation grilled peach and tomato salad comes from America's Test Kitchen. It's a wonderful pairing of two summertime favorites, peaches and tomatoes, paired with creamy burrata cheese and fresh basil with a basic white wine vinaigrette. This simple salad punches way above its weight and is a perfect afternoon snack or even the main course. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of ripe but slightly firm peaches. We live near a farm stand that's open all summer long and always has a great selection of varieties of produce that you don't usually find at your local grocery store. I picked up some smaller yellow peaches and let them sit on our counter for a couple of days, just until I felt they were ripe enough. I cut them in halves and removed the pits. I probably could have waited one more day as there were a couple of pits that were stubborn, but they were all very juicy and sweet. The day Lisa and I filmed this recipe, we planned on grilling the peaches outside on our grill, but of course the weather decided not to cooperate, so we decided to pivot and cook the peaches on our grill pan, which ultimately produced what we wanted. The only hiccup was that we forgot to brush melted butter, as written in the recipe instructions, on the peach halves. It wasn't a disaster and the peaches didn't stick too badly. If you make this recipe, I highly encourage you not to skip this step, as it will also add better grill marks. After cooking for 6 minutes covered, we put the peaches in a 375-degree oven for 15 minutes, then arranged them on a pan to cool. The tomatoes, or in this case a single large heirloom tomato, was cored and roughly diced. I cut slices, then planks, and then into chunks to the size to which I was going to slice the peaches. After dicing the tomato, I scooped it into a bowl and sprinkled the chunks with a teaspoon of kosher salt, and then transferred to a colander to drain for 30 minutes. Soft herbs like basil shine in dishes like this. They play such an important part in balancing the flavors and textures. I balled up a fistful of Italian basil, rough chopped it, and set it aside. I've grilled peaches using a grill before and peeled them, and it wasn't the easiest task. After cooling, these peach skins basically slid right off. I chopped them into wedges, then into chunks the size of the tomatoes, making sure to keep as much char as I could. They were also then set aside. It was pretty interesting to see that this recipe calls for making a super basic vinaigrette. So basic, I'm actually not sure I can call it a vinaigrette. We added a small amount of salt, a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, and slowly whisked in 5 tablespoons of olive oil until it was reasonably emulsified. The tomatoes and peaches were then introduced and coated before plating up. In the case of meals that have a lot of wet elements like thin sauces, and in this case, the oil and vinegar mixture, it's a good idea to use a shallow bowl or another dish with a lip. It's prettier, and gravity helps keep everything together. For the dressed tomato peach salad, we added a couple of torn up balls of burrata cheese, mozzarella's delicious cousin, and then, of course, the basil before drizzling olive oil on top. Each component complements the others, and I can honestly say that it may be the best dish that I've had this summer so far. I'll surely make this again and find out if there's a noticeable difference when I grill the peaches. Peaches pair perfectly with pork tenderloin and also desserts as simple as a scoop of vanilla ice cream. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please consider commenting and subscribing. We also have a food blog, recipesrecommended.com, where you can join our community of like-minded home cooks. Thanks again, and remember, great minds eat alike.